Well, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folarin. Well, my guest this morning is a lawyer, Fred Okey Nzeako. He joins us by Zoom. He's also a development economist. A fine morning to you, Barrister Fred Okey Nzeako.
Good morning, Yori.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Great. A fine morning to you. I've just said, okay, there you are. Good to see you. Well, in case it plays a bit wonky, I guess we'll understand. But thank you so much for making time for us. It's just good that I said that my guest is a lawyer. I mean, you look anything but like a lawyer. You look like a sportsman or some sort. What with your cap and all of that. But it's all good. Okay, of course.
Well, Yori, sometimes the lawyer is not in court and he will want to exercise the freedom of dressing down and sometimes joining the sportsmen to feel how they feel.
Okay.
So I'm glad the face has not changed, but the head and the attire may have changed.
There you go.
So once again, good morning to you and good morning to our dear esteemed viewers.
A fine morning to you. That has sorted that out. Of course, the important question, I mean, I put on a jacket myself for this kind of topic because we're talking constitutional amendment. Can you imagine? And the way we're going now. Most people know the story. If you're going to amend the Constitution, there is a way to go. And so cutting it very, very short, Houses of Assembly, state Houses of Assembly have now deliberated on the 44 bills that were sent to them by the National Assembly. And we understand that most of them, I think it is 35 of them, 35 of those bills, 35 of those laws have actually been approved, but not all. First of all, give me your overview. Maybe you'll also touch on those that were not touched on or acted upon by the state houses of assembly. I suppose the most notable of all of this is, autonomy for local government councils. That one, nobody wanted to touch it over 10-foot pole, and we are hearing commentary in headlines that something like state assemblies agree with their governors because it is felt that the governors were the guys who were behind all of this. But give me your overall impression with the news that came out yesterday.
Well, of course, you know that issue of constitutional amendment primarily is the responsibility of the National Assembly. But at the second level, it also involves the rest of the people represented by the various state houses of assembly. And that is why for any item on the Constitution to be amended, it must not only have the concurrence of both chambers of the National Assembly, it must also have the buy-in by way of the assent by 2/3 of the states of the Federation, in which case, for any item to stand amended, not only will the National Assembly have worked and tinkered with it, completed the legislative action on it, but it must go through the state assemblies, whereby 24 states assemblies are expected to have given their concurrence before it can be said to be ready for passage and for the assent by Mr. President. And that has always been the provision of the Constitution. And that has always been the practice, even with the past amendments of the Constitution 1999 as amended. Now, 43 items or thereabout were to be slated for amendment, but eventually 35 of them passed through legislative actions at the National Assembly. And at this point, the whole 35 that have gone through National Assembly legislative actions will also pass through the states Houses of Assembly for assent at the state level before it is passed to Mr. President. And Nigerians are not so much worried about many aspects or many items on that amendment list, the way they are with respect to local government autonomy. And that has always been a sore point This will be the 5th time the autonomy of local government will pass through legislative input by way of trying to amend it, by way of trying to untangle the local government from the stranglehold of the state governments who run, man, control, finance, and do everything that has to do with local government. But of course, which we know is contrary to the spirit of the Constitution, because this Constitution has provided the local government to be the third tier of government and to be, in a manner of speaking, the most important tier of government, being the one at the closest to the grassroots. But from experience, we found out that the local governments are not only at the beck and call of the state government because of the provision of the Constitution in Section 7 of 1999 Constitution as amended, which created the state local government joint account. And as a matter of fact, the government is run with money. And by the time the monies that come to every local government is put into a joint account with the states to be disbursed by the governor through the commissioner for local government affairs at the various states at the government house. That has more or less stifled and strangulated and castrated the capacity of the local government to discharge their responsibilities and their functions as the third tier of government closest to the grassroots. And I can tell you without a fear of contradiction that virtually every state is guilty of this strangulation of the local government finances. Virtually every state. Any state that claims, or any governor that claims to have given autonomy to the local government is only saying so just to pander to the gallery and to gain popularity among the people, because what is on ground across the whole federation, across all states of the federation, is that every governor is not only interested in knowing what goes on at the local government, but is also in charge of the local government finances, and is also in charge of the local government manpower. Because, and that is why there is never a credible election at the local government level. Every state independent electoral commission that conducts local government election is always guilty of pandering to the whims, the caprices, and the dictates of the government in power in that state. So, in a manner of speaking, local government system in Nigeria is comatose. And we felt and have been hoping that they will be given life through constitutional amendment, but that is not coming. Because once the amendment is done and they go down to the state.
Okay, that was a slight outage there. You understand, it's network drifting in and out. So I'm sure that, okay, will be back with us immediately. But along the lines that he was speaking about, we'll also take calls, we'll also take calls coming in. But he was just saying, in fact, one of the headlines this morning captures it quite well in saying that National Assembly bows to governors on local government autonomy. Of course, the thing wasn't sent to governors, but that's the meaning of it. So that headline saying that National Assembly bows to governors on local government autonomy pretty much sums up what Okey is saying. Now, Okey, you were out for a while, but now you're back. So what, as you've said, it's all constitutionally based. In fact, the desire and the hope that maybe we'll be able to put some legal teeth to it, but no, not yet. Now, why do you think this is what is it is this way? Is it that the people who administer local governments are not trusted to be able to do the right thing, and therefore the governors, if indeed they are behind all of this, would say, no, put it through us. We will then manage it and, allocate to them as required. Is it just a matter of not believing in the capability, even as you've just said, in one sense, it is the local governments are seen as the most important tier of government. But here we are, it appears the state governors are not happy with that.
Well, the state governors seem not to be happy simply because they want to continue to further control every affair of the local government in their states. And when I say every affair, every issue I have about the local government, starting from the financing, which of course you know that local government draws its allocation as the third tier of government from the federation account.
Yes.
And whenever it comes, in fact, when the commissioner of finance of every state goes to Abuja for federation account allocation committee meeting, it comes in dual capacity, both as the commissioner of finance of the state and as the representative of the local government system in the state. So the check is usually written in some cases, in one check. It was only in the era when Dr. Michelle Okonjo-Iweala was the finance minister that she insisted on writing separate checks for the local government and publishing the amount
Yes.
issued to each local government in national dailies. That was when I learned that my local government that I thought was poor was earning as much as 56 to 65 million every month from federation account.
Exactly.
Not to talk of the IGR of local government.
Okay,
So
1 second. 1 second, Fred. I beg your pardon, Fred.
Yes.
Thank you very much. A caller has come in, so let's listen to him. Good morning, Mr. George, calling in from Lagos.
Morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in. Good morning.
And good morning to Mr. Nzeako, too.
Yes.
Uncle Yori, that law, that constitutional provision about local government operations ab initio is not a workable one. What do I mean?
How do you mean?
Yes, you make laws that can work, not the ones that cannot work. You don't make the laws are made for men and not men for the law. How do you have a local government that is answerable, that is not answerable to the governor of the state? But who is it going to be answerable to? To the president in Abuja? Whereas the territory that he is governing is within the state of the governor. If you spend money directly to them, that is okay. The federal government could find a way to sending the financial support to the local government directly. But structurally, Uncle Yori, their independence cannot function effectively as long as they are within the state government territory. I don't see it working like that. You in Lagos, for example, you remember one time, one local government in the Chiosa local government won an election, and all other local governments, a different party won in all other local governments there. That party fought to make sure that that local government that won election did not function. It functioned for a few months, Uncle Yori, if you can remember. And in that few months, it became a problem in the Lagos State House of Assembly. The different party was there not because they want to use that local government to help as a government organ, but to disrupt the governance of the state. And the rest of the local government didn't want that, and there was a friction. That's how it's going to be in every state. I think the government, the state governors should take control of local government. That is the one that can work. But
okay.
The financing can come directly from the federal government. That's the way they have accounts. Just credit the money direct to their accounts. That's the way I see it. We should make laws that can work, not the ones that cannot work in our setup.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much with that perspective, Mr. George. Fred, so what do you think about answerability? If you go to the local government, okay, please continue.
I have slight deviation from Mr. George's perspectives in terms of who would the local government
answer to.
Answer to. The question is, who does the governor answer to?
Exactly.
The governor answers to the people of the state. There are institutions of the state that control every aspect of life of every state. The same way there are institutions of the local government that control the life of the activities of the local government. So the chairman and the executive members of local government should answer to the people. The important thing is answering to the people and not answering, being accountable to the governor. The governor himself should also be accountable to the people. the president is accountable to the people. Everyone at different layer and at different tier.
Okay.
And that is why there are 3 tiers and 3 layers of government.
Okay.
Then we have the Local Government Service Commission, and you have even the legislative houses and local government. The councillors form the legislative houses of the local government, and they make bylaws for the good order and governance of the local government system. And you have staff of the local government, but they have their own responsibilities clearly spelled out in the Constitution. But such responsibilities are completely undermined by the actions of the state governors, who themselves essentially want to control the personnel and the finances of the local government.
Okay, one moment, Fred. One moment, Fred. Let me. Okay, Fred. One moment. Let me bring on Mazi Okorafor, who has been waiting for a bit. Good morning to you, Mazi Okorafor.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, I brought on Sky. Now, you see, local government must be autonomous, must be independent. If local governments are not autonomous and independent, there is no development in that. Look, the House of Assembly are part and parcel of the problems we have in the local government. We should go to the causes, not the symptoms. One, when the governor will now come, arrange people that will be at the House of Assembly, what will you see? Dictation, they dance to the tune of the governor. So if the House of Assembly have been, that is it, no domination of a particular party there, I bet you the local government will function. And like what our guest rightly said, unless we go back to the system of Okey Nzeako, where that the local government people, let's say like Aruchukuta, we have 17 local government. They should have a chairman within the local government in the state. That every month the person should go to Abuja and collect money and come back to the state there and say, not state accountants to go and collect money and start giving to the local government. It will not work with. Because what is happening now, Sayori and my brother and the next guy, do you know, because the governors sit down and dictate which local government, which state do you see where they have a balanced local government election? Any state, any political party that's really in that state, they dominate the whole system. That is why you see all this problem. Unless when there is election, the government just scatter, whatever scatter, no domination by the ruling government in that state. That is where the local government function. But as long as the governors continue and picking, doing all this committee chairman, the local government will still dancing at the detriment of the masses, which is not healthy. All these activities are being done in local government. And the governor now ask me, the governor, you are collecting over billions upon billions. You collect 3 billion as your own security bills every month. What are you doing with it? And your eyes are sitting there in the local government authority. What is that? You see, power and money is what is killing Nigeria. If the governor will concentrate purely on the state and allow the local government to function there, I bet you all these insurgents, all these terrorists will not have a place to play. But because we allow the local government to be dying, now what is the governor doing with local government money? You are not satisfied with what you are going to pay for the federal government on this weekend. Nobody will take money to the grave. No condition this morning. Good morning, Sayori and our guests.
Thank you very much, Mazi. Okay, Fred, you remember there was a time, Fred, when President...
yes, I'm here.
You remember when President Buhari also seems to be supportive of, look, deal with the local government, local governments directly. I fear that it wasn't like, and maybe the best evidence for that is this exercise now, where the states, are declining to give their assent to making it proper, rigid, and you can't get out of it. They just decided to leave it well alone. But you've heard Mazi Okorafor saying that it's not going to work. It can't work that way. You've also heard earlier, George, you commented on that a bit. But look at it from Mazi's point of view. What would you say?
Well, the major challenge has always been that provision of the Constitution that has not been amended, which allows for state and local government joint account. That is the major problem. The second problem is allowing the state independent electoral commission, independent in quote, because they are not independent, to conduct local government elections. In some states, no elections are even conducted at all. A governor will come on board, use caretaker committee to finish his 4 years tenure, go back to election, use caretaker committee to finish his 8 years tenure, and there will be no conduct of local government election at all It happened in my state. It happened in many other states. And many governors don't feel that anything wrong about it, simply because it gives them opportunity to be in charge and in control of local government finances. Anambra State, for example, has 21 local governments. If an average local government earns about 16 million in a month, 60 multiplied by 20 alone will give you 1.2 billion. Plus another, that is almost between 1.2 and 1.3 billion naira every month comes from federation accounts to local government areas that are managed by the state governors. And I can tell you that in most other states that are richer, like in some of the oil-rich states and some of the mineral-rich states that get a lot of allocation, and there's some states that have so many local government areas, states like Kano and Jigawa and Kaduna, that you have 44 local government areas, and all the monies going to those local government areas are controlled by the state governor. How do you expect the governor to take his hands off the till?
Okay, one moment, Fred. I beg your pardon. Sorry to interrupt you, Fred. I beg your pardon for interrupting you.
Yeah.
But Benga in Abuja has also been on the line for a while. Good morning to you, Benga in Abuja.
Good morning, Mr. Yori. You are welcome. Happy New Year.
Thank you very much.
Good morning to Mr. Fred.
Yes.
When I heard of it yesterday,
Morning.
that many states did not sign this local government autonomy something, I felt disappointed. Because the level of poverty in Nigeria today is at the local level. And once the local government are not autonomous and they cannot fund agriculture, they cannot fund education, then the people come to impoverish. During our own time, when I was growing up in the 70s, local government were the one constructing our roads. The school we went to, local government give us food. We went to local government health center. But now, those are not existing again. Everybody now goes to the general hospital. It should not be. That's the reason why they say poverty, and they will blame Buhari for it. The local government and the state are contributing largely to the poverty in Nigeria because there's no good road. Look at it, Mr. Yori. The last erosion that happened in Nigeria affected the state in the south-south and some southwest and some south-southeast. It affected most people in the rural area. If local government have been functioning, there have been adequate irrigation, adequate drainages and the rest of it. If they manage the flood, now those people now in the next 6 months now they can't go back to their villages because of the flood, because it has not been over. By now, if the government is functioning, you have rural power supply, power by solar. The government can do that to power villages with solar, and that will limit or eliminate this. Urban rural migration. When people are comfortable in the villages, they have access to power, education, and the rest of it, they will develop. By now, we should have farm villages. Agriculture by local government, establishing farm villages where youth can farm and support them. It's not existing because local government funds have been taken by the state.
Okay.
There's no way can prevent poverty without giving autonomy to local government.
Okay.
And I think the state should think twice. Thank you.